All right. On the board, the Patriots get absolutely smoked in this one.
Yeah. It's on the board. I'm not predicting it, but it's definitely possible. You've got a high-powered offense and a stingy defense. I guess you could say that for the Pats too. But their quarterback has been playing better than Drake may. Even Drake we think is better, but Darnold's been playing better. Drake's been sacked 15 times. We have questions about at least parts of the offensive line for New England. Seattle can do it with the run with Kenneth Walker. I mean, even if he doesn't average a ton of yards per carry, he's going to wear a defense down. You got two great receivers for Darnold to throw to, and then a third one who's dangerous in Shaheed. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's possible. I don't see New England blowing Seattle out as really being on the board. I think winning is on the board. But I think for Seattle, a blowout is possible.
Yeah, in these games, anything is possible. I didn't think Kansas City was going to get blown out, and it happened. And the way that those games typically go is
Kansas City was going to win.
I could see if New England got down early by a substantial amount and they had to become one-dimensional where it was just a function of Drake May having to carry the team and then having to rely on the offensive line a lot more, not being able to keep as many guys as they want to in protection to chip and kind of help out and support it. And those games, usually they're not, I don't see this being out of hand from the first snap to where Seattle just controls the game. If it got out of hand, to me it would be they're down by 2 scores, they're trying to catch up and then turn, that type of sort of series of events. But they've lost by the most, 7 points this season? 2 games by 7, 1 game by 4.
Yeah, I didn't look up point differential, but everything. Yes, Josh is saying right. We've never given up 30. Oh no, 35. Josh scored 35 points, so we've never given up 35.
But even that game was a 4-point game, wasn't it? 35-31. So, is it possible? Yeah. To me, does that prediction seem a little bit more like sour grapes? Maybe.
Oh, yeah, there was a little bit of
a little bit of sour.
It's a little bit of a poker thing because of the sunglasses. I couldn't tell if his feelings were hurt, if it was real enough.
I think it was a little sour grapes. I think it was a way of saying if Bo Nix doesn't get hurt, we're in this game.
I think they feel like we win if Bo Nix. Why wouldn't you?
Right.
They can feel that way the rest of their life.
Right. Right. It doesn't matter. But that was my read on it as well.
All right. So this is how rare blowouts are, because I think we have in our mind the blowouts kind of stick out, but they are pretty rare. The last 25 Super Bowls, only 14 were decided by 1 score, only 6 2 scores. 5 were decided by 3 scores, and 11 games were decided by 4 points or fewer, which is one of the reasons why I take some umbrage at the 4.5 point spread, because that gets up to, I don't know.
Well, so wait, but that
it just feels like 11. I don't know.
That means 14 of the last 25 were decided by more than 4 points.
Yeah, but those were misses. Look, to be fair, I think if the Patriots getting blown out is on the board, I think it should be on the board that the Patriots blow out the Seahawks.
Yeah.
No, I respectfully disagree. The Seattle Seahawks are significantly more battle-tested. That is the straightforward, unvarnished reality of this situation. I have consistently defended the strength of schedule for the New England Patriots. I have never utilized it as a cudgel to diminish their accomplishments or to argue they are inferior. I have never engaged in that line of reasoning. However, the objective truth remains. The Seahawks have endured a more rigorous proving ground. Furthermore, the Seahawks have exhibited a specific caliber of dominance and resilience that the Patriots, through no inherent fault of their own, have not been required to demonstrate with the same frequency. This isn't a commentary on capability, but rather a reflection of how their respective seasons have unfolded. Consequently, I believe there is a widespread underestimation of just how exceptional this Seahawks defensive unit truly is. I don't think the broader audience fully grasps the brilliance of Mike Macdonald's schematic design. I don't believe they recognize the profound level of discipline this defense operates with. Some point to the 2 Matthew Stafford performances against them late in the season as proof of vulnerability, thinking, see, this defense can be had. But as someone who has meticulously watched every single Seahawks contest this year, I can attest this defense is violently physical, technically sound, and communicates at an elite level. I honestly cannot recall, and I'm sure it has happened. But I struggle to remember an instance where pre-snap motion or offensive shifts visibly disrupted their composure. You know the look. Defenders glancing at each other, frantically pointing, a palpable sense of, wait, what's the call here, as the play clock winds down. I simply haven't seen that confusion from them. If a viewer can point to a specific game where that occurred, I'll revisit it, but from my memory, their operational cohesion is remarkable. Obviously, several defenses have been spectacular to observe this season. For me, the Seahawks, Texans, and Steelers have had standout moments, among others. But two games that left an indelible impression on me involved the Texans and the Seahawks. Ironically, the Texans showcased their own formidable defense against the Seahawks in a contest that was a defensive slugfest, though Seattle ultimately rose to the occasion. That game also featured some self-inflicted mistakes by Seattle that still irritate me, but I'll let that go. We certainly don't need a revisitation of Cooper Kupp attempting passes. The Seahawks have mounted so many impressive, breathtaking defensive stands. I mean, just observe their performance against the San Francisco 49ers to clinch the NFC's top seed. The execution, the tackling. I remain in awe of the tackling. It wasn't predicated solely on brutal highlight reel hits. It was a masterclass in perfect technique, discipline, understanding of leverage, and closing speed. It was high-level football in its purest form, not merely the product of being more hyped up. While we often mock the cliche that one team wanted it more, and it can be generic, there's sometimes truth to that energy. I believe the 49ers played with more palpable desire than the Eagles in their playoff meeting. I'm not suggesting that was the sole reason, but it was a factor. Similarly, the Eagles in the Super Bowl against Kansas City played with a ferocious, bloodthirsty intensity. They were technically superb, but they also played with an undeniable edge. I recently listened to a clip from Joe Buck recounting the Super Bowl where the Seahawks dismantled the Broncos. He described being on the team bus with the Legion of Boom and having a moment with Troy Aikman where they just knew. He told his wife the game wouldn't be close. At this stage in his career, that's not a detail he'd fabricate. He sensed an unmistakable, palpable intensity from that Seahawks team, a certainty that they were going to get after it. I believe that same essence defines this Seahawks team throughout the entire season. Even when a defensive player committed a costly penalty, you could see the immediate, visceral accountability on the sidelines. It wasn't fractious fighting, it was demanding accountability. I talk about accountability constantly, especially recently. You need a coach who enforces it and players who hold each other to the standard. The Seahawks have embodied that all year. This is not to imply the Patriots lack accountability or are incapable of it. The Patriots are an awesome team, fully deserving of their place in this game. My stance is simply that the Seahawks, through their style of play, the violence, the physicality, the speed on both sides of the ball, the synergy of their personnel, and the orchestration of Mike McDonald and Clint Kubiak, possess a unique capacity to blow teams out in a manner no other team has consistently shown this season. Now, I am not a proponent of using blowout margins as the primary metric for greatness. It's not a statistic I heavily lean on. The Patriots have their own decisive victories against the Jets and others, and I don't hold their schedule against them either. I am merely hyper-aware that in this debate, the counter-argument arises. If you say the Seahawks can blow them out, why can't the Patriots? The answer is straightforward, because the Seahawks are the better football team. And that is permissible. It doesn't guarantee victory. It doesn't invalidate belief in the Patriots. It doesn't mean I consider the Patriots a bad team. If the Patriots win, it wouldn't prove me wrong in a fundamental sense, because I believe the Patriots are a great team. I just believe the Seahawks are a better one. Let me frame this in the clearest possible terms, which I wish I had articulated 10 minutes ago. This is the optimal way to summarize my position. If both teams play their absolute best football, if both teams perform at the peak of their capabilities, the Seattle Seahawks win by multiple scores. If both teams are at their best, the Patriots have no chance to win. No chance. This does not mean the Patriots cannot win. But if you are presented with the optimal version of the Seattle Seahawks, you are confronting a team with the capacity to dominate and dismantle you on both offense and defense. If the Patriots play their best, it is also formidable. Drake May is fantastic and great, but I am convinced the Seahawks defense has the requisite tools to stifle that. Conversely, if Sam Darnold is operating at his personal best, irrespective of the opposing defense's quality, and he has weapons like Jackson Smith and Jigba and Cooper Kupp at his disposal, points will be piled on. Sam Darnold at his zenith has played at a historically great level this season, executing at a pace we haven't seen from contemporaries like Mahomes or Rodgers. It has been insanely impressive. Therefore, the contest ultimately distills to this. The Patriots win this game by disrupting the Seahawks ecosystem. They must disrupt Sam Darnold, make him profoundly uncomfortable, and ensure that when Drake May is forced to extend a play, it results in a back-breaking conversion, a 15-yard improvisational throw, or a 20-yard scramble on what looked like a sure sack for a loss. They must force the Seahawks to deviate from their disciplined best. That is the Patriots' pathway to victory. However, if both squads are performing at their optimum and that disruptive element is absent, the advantage belongs unequivocally to Seattle. Thus, the Seahawks possess more avenues to secure a win, including more plausible paths to a lopsided victory than the Patriots do. The only scenario I envision for a Patriots blowout is if Sam Darnold completely lays an egg, transforms into the proverbial pumpkin, and the post-game narrative shifts to, "Did we crown Sam too soon?" Or, "Have the doubters been unsilenced?" Phrases that will undoubtedly scroll across the bottom line. That is the singular, contingency-based route to a Patriots route. Drake May could play phenomenally, and it could still be a Seahawks blowout. The definition of a blowout itself is subjective. 14 points? 21? I won't get bogged down in semantics, nor am I making a specific score prediction like 35-7. I genuinely don't perceive my stance as particularly controversial. This is why I strive for consistency. So no one can credibly accuse me of stemming from a place of disrespect or doubt toward the Patriots or Drake May. I have praised and defended them all season long. I have championed Drake May's elite potential relentlessly. I simply believe the Seahawks are that great and that special of a collective unit. Provided they deliver their optimal performance, I view this game as incredibly straightforward. It would require true heroics, extraordinary, season-defining heroics, from the New England Patriots and from Drake May personally, for them to emerge victorious, let alone secure a dominant win. But those are merely my perspectives. I am absolutely eager to hear yours. What are all of your thoughts on the Seattle Seahawks? Is a convincing victory over the New England Patriots a plausible outcome? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one. So, whether you concur with my analysis or disagree entirely, let's engage in some discussions. Let's have some spirited debates. But ultimately, let's simply enjoy the conversation. Please consider subscribing. We are building a fantastic community here, and would absolutely love for you to be a part of it. My goal is to foster something we all feel genuinely connected to, something we are excited to participate in. I believe we are well on our path to achieving that. Also, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It genuinely assists with visibility and the platform's algorithm. Thank you so very much. See you next time.